Yo, 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 what's good, Guru Nation and the real Fantasy Playmakers? We're going over quarterback rankings 2024 quarterback. We're going to get those in, y'all, on the Guru Nation podcast.
QB rankings.
So we'll see how that plays out, but I still like Josh Allen over Hurts in this situation, so I agree with you here.
Do me next. For
redraft, right? We're talking redraft.
Yeah, we're talking redraft. We're talking redraft. What you got, Boogie? Any
so if I was at number two, I'm taking Lamar Jackson. If we're talking QB, we're talking single QB. We'll specify, right? We will make some adjustments when we get going. If we're and specify to QB premium even.
Someone just selected CJ Stroud at the 101.
Ooh, that's I'm not mad at that. That defense is really good though. That's the thing.
Yeah, and then you said Lamar. The argument for Lamar, I'd say, would be the fact that their defense probably won't be quite as good this year. Like they lost Patrick.
That wily old John Harbaugh, though. See, here's the thing. Wily old John Harbaugh, he knows. Remember when everyone started having an analytics guy? He had one right next to him. When everyone started.
He was ahead of the curve with that.
He knows how to, and he knows nowadays, you don't just have a good defense to win games lower scoring. You got to have the good defense to tee off when you're defending a lead. And running up the scoreboard on offense is the plan. That Sean McVay's do it. The Niners do it. The Kyle Shanahan's, all of them, the Packers. This is what you do. And when you have an elite defense, that you just keep your foot on the gas pedal. This is what the style is today. You know what I mean?
Baltimore mollywopped the Houston Texans twice last year to cap in the season. At the very beginning, first game of the year, the regular season to the playoff loss, and they weren't close, either of them. There was the talent gap in those teams at the time. Baltimore's was stacked and loaded, and you could see the difference with the playmakers. Especially on defense, the Texans didn't really have much going, and that's because that at the time, the offense was rolling. Granted, there was no, Tank Dell and certain other players.
And Derrick Henry's going to open it up for he's definitely, him on the field is going to open it up for Lamar between the 20s. Like, he might run for a thou wow again this year on top of like 30-plus passing tugs, and it still won't contradict the fact that the King Henry can go for dub still. You know what I mean? Let's go to Guccini. If you're at third now, what would you do?
I'm going to take a chance on CJ Stroud.
Okay, there you go. Let's go.
He guys, it's too many damn playmakers over there, bro. And then you got a disciple of the Shanahan McVay tree, 100% over there, bro. And then what else can you ask for him coming into his rookie season, going into his second season, and for him to throw less than 500 times, only one less than that, and for him to do what he did and to bring in a Stephon Diggs and a Joe Mixon on top of what they got over there, and if you can get Tank for 16 games, what do you have, Peacock, a touchdown a game? Was it or something like that?
He was pacing it. Trust me, he got really close.
What up, Candlestick?
The first game and a half. Hey, what up, Candlestick? The first game and a half, he wasn't even part of the offense. Remember, he was coming off the bench, so you have to kind of factor those first two games in. So if you do that, then he was basically at a touchdown a game pace before he got injured.
And I think they went 6 times over 30 points last year, too, as well. So that the offense was already in sync last year with the rookie quarterback, even in this second year with more weapons, 100%. I think I would take that chance on him.
And I will make the same argument. I'm not going to say, like, if Houston's defense is so elite that it's going to hinder them. I think they will shoot it out and stomp fools out. You know what I mean? D'Amico Ryans comes from that Niner, and Bobby Slow, they know what they got to do. They were doing it last year. They're like, we're going to come out firing.
Second year with Slowick, more weapons to play with. More weapons to play with.
Get over there?
Now, remember, the offensive line was like a smorgasbord of just plug and play whoever the hell was there for most of the season. So they didn't have that going. Then you had Dameon Pierce struggling in the run game. So they didn't get that going until after the bye week when Singletary started to take off. So there's no continuity there. Then see if you compound that with the fact that CJ Stroud only threw for 3 touchdown games, I think 2 or 3 times out of the season. So he didn't have like huge blow up games, but he was still very efficient on the low volume. They didn't turn him loose until like week 5. So all of that is a super slow start for, of course, a team that was rebuilding and all of that. So a good chunk, maybe a fifth of the season, it was kind of just down the drain where, they weren't putting up the stats and he wasn't able to really, he was still learning the offense. He was a rookie fresh out of, college right in there. So it took a little bit of time. And then people were going to say like, yeah, now they have tape on him. He's like, hey man, he has tape on them too. he has tape on defenses too. He's really, really good when he has time to prepare. And we saw that in those weeks. And then he also missed 2 games with a concussion. So there's a lot of things that went into that rookie season where, it could have been a lot better, obviously. And he went into a situation that was not one of the best in the NFL. They were ranked, I think, like 31st or 32nd as far as playmakers on the offense. So for him to do that and then have all this help going into the second season with all the continuity that should be there with a full first offseason, he should make that jump. So I'm not mad at this. Still, personally, though, I like Spencer's ranking at 5. But I'm not mad at taking a shot on CJ Stroud and expecting that offense to go up. Not mad at it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I took him super high in the mock the other night. I took him in the 5th of the single QB. It's just my only pushback against him, like being anything like with Allen or Hurts is that, for one, he's not a mobile QB that much. So he's probably only going to get 100, maybe 200 rushing if we're lucky. And then also, I just think defenses are going to have adjusted enough to him to where, I think he'll still have a strong year. But I think his passing numbers go down just a tad, even though he's got more weapons, because defenses will have more film on him in that system. And a lot of times in the second year, the sophomore slump thing, I just think the second year they're going to have more tough defensive assignments against him, or lineman assignments.
The schedule's tougher.
And the schedule's going to be tougher, first place schedule. So I just if he falls to me, I'll take him in this mock. The top 4 are already gone, so he kind of fell to me there in the 5th. But I'm not taking him any higher than that. I'm not going to pull him up in hopes that he's going to be a top 3, because I just feel like with the adjustments with defenses, I feel like his numbers from last year aren't going to go up. If we're lucky, they'll stay the same. But if I had to predict, they're going to dip down slightly. But hopefully he won't have any injuries. I know he missed the games with concussions. Hopefully he'll stay upright to where he'll probably still produce a similar amount of fantasy points last year. I just think his points per game might drop a tad.
I mean, he missed Nico Collins for 2 games. He didn't have a run game. He didn't have Tank Dell for half a season. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that went into him not having as great of a season as he could have had, I think. So I'm thinking the needle's going up. I think the fantasy community, pretty much agrees with it. We have him here at 5 on the big board. I think a lot of people are comfortable with that, but it is getting to the point where I think if it goes beyond that for ADP wise, you're taking a risk, because there are guys who you can get, instead of drafting him there earlier than 5, in my opinion.
Yeah,
or, if those other quarterbacks that are ahead of him, I think are justified. Burrow, Prescott, perhaps, and then Richardson's a wild card. So I mean, I'm not mad at it. The range of outcomes, I see top 3 potential. So I'm not mad at this taking him at 3 if that's what Uccini would do.
Yeah, now without a doubt, and just a little kickback, Dak did finish top 3 last year without bringing no running capability to fantasy as well. And Dak only had, what was it? I think 600 more yards than CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud had a 23-5 INT ratio, and Dak had a 31-9. You know what I mean? So if we talking about the offense getting better and being able to continue to put up points like they did last year and continue just to grow, I think like how Peacock said, the range of outcomes is not impossible for him to finish a top 3 season this year 100%, especially with him not bringing no rushing ability to fantasy 100%, bro.
He's still mobile enough to extend plays, though. That's what I like. He runs to keep the play alive and look downfield and add that to his passing. So
let's move on to Mahomes here, because Steamboat was saying no love for Pat at 1, and I mean I don't think he should go that high, because again he doesn't run. Those top 2 run, but I mean as y'all said, I mean with Dak, I mean you can still finish up there even if you don't run. So Mahomes, I think will still finish close, but to me the rushing keeps him out of 1. But y'all seem to be very high on Stroud. But Mahomes is the one that's done it. So what are y'all thoughts on Mahomes?
I like Mahomes priced at 3. I wouldn't take him higher than 3 off the third quarterback off the board, just because, I mean, the only game in town is Kelsey. The numbers did kind of dip this last season. We saw that. I don't know if this is going to be a trend that continues. So that's probably why I wouldn't take him at 1. But, I'm not, like I said, three's a good spot for him. I would probably still go Lamar over him, and then I'd go Mahomes and then Stroud. And so that's just how I feel about it. But like I said, Kelsey's really the only show in town. We don't know what's going to go on with Rashee Rice, and then the defense has been. It's not a complete mess like it was in years past, where we could count on them being in shootouts every week. Sometimes the defense just took care of business, and Mahomes didn't have to do as much, and so that seems to be the worry. I think continuing forward.
I can make a case for Mahomes, and it is easy because I can just point to the year that the first year after life after Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? And you had a full healthy Kelsey. And I think that's really was the issue last year, was having Kelsey play more decoy than anything and helping the run game, and the defense could keep them in games because they were, I'm sure they were top 3 in a lot of metrics that matter. You know what I mean?
Tell them what the real problem was, though, Bogart. It was the box.
It was Pacheco, man. that's the one case I'll make against him is, Pacheco's, man. He's, I'm expecting big things out of him, and they definitely do try to pound it in down there. He's just been stopped at the one so many goddamn times, and then he got it going. He got it going towards the end of the year and well off into the playoffs. So, they do have a big nasty back from Patterson that they could depend on.
Yeah, you'll probably get Burrow on a discount because of the injury dip from last year.
Yeah, I was about to say, even though he's not a rushing QB, he has had a lot of injuries, but I feel like this year he's going to be locked in and healthy. So I got him a little higher than consensus because, man, the name that everyone's jumping up the board, bro, Anthony Richardson. I'm lower on A-Rich in consensus. I got him here at 8, but consensus, he's going 6, and I've seen some people have him in their top 5. I mean, shout out to Lawrence Fantasy Lord. He's got freaking A-Rich is his number 1 QB. And I saw someone in the chat here earlier was saying A-Rich QB 1 overall. I'm like, damn, y'all pump the brakes.
Yep.
I'm not really feeling him that high, but I know he's facts. I know if healthy, Anthony Richardson could do it. I just feel like with his injury history and coming off the shoulder at the major shoulder injury last year, and it's an offense
he needs to be kind of prolific, like ridiculously with his passing in order to pull that off. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And the offense is a work in progress. I mean, I love him in Dynasty because I think if he reaches his ceiling, he could eventually be the number 1. But for redraft this year, I'm not taking Richardson up with Lamar and them, bro. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, A-Rich because I feel like now A-Rich is going like A-Rich or Dak. I mean, it'd be very hard not to go A-Rich over Dak, but if you're just looking for safer, Dak's definitely safer.
Dak, that pass up. Go get the shirt at neonpeacockmerch.com.
Do you think Anthony Richardson can throw for 3,500 yards and rush for 800 yards?
35 and 800?
I'd probably say the passing. I think the rushing, I think it might be more like 3,200 and 1,000, honestly.
That's 4,200 right there, bro. And if he got like say like it's a 20 to 10 INT ratio with another 8 to 10 rushing TDs, bro. That's damn near finish already.
None of them run, Tino. They said the two A-Rod and Kirk disinfectants, and none of them run at all. But I mean, like you're saying, JD, if he hits that, bro, if he can hit for over 4,000 combined, then he could finish top 5.
Yeah, that's the key, is that if we're going to compare him to a quarterback and we want to talk about number 1 overall, Josh Allen would be the counterpart that would be the most predictable outcome that would be required for him to get there, right? The rushing yards, the rushing attempts, really, and then the actual passing yards being more than like 4,200. So other than the DeMar year, he's been QB2, Josh Allen, right? But he didn't get to play that full game. If he finished it,
he probably would have been QB1 that year too. Yep.
So they didn't have a running back, and what does the Colts do? They run the ball with JT
Shane
and then
Steichen,
whoever they got. So the 4,200 might not be achievable. But number 8 on your list is pretty good. I think I still have Jordan Love over Anthony Richardson, so I would bump him closer to a low end WR1 rather than like a mid range. and then
Oh
I
wow,
would
so
be
you're a little
comfortable.
lower on him then. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I like the fantasy prospect of having a full year of Richardson achieving what everybody thinks that he can do on the ground. But are they going to utilize him on the ground because they actually have a running game that,
Yeah.
um, is going to not need the quarterback to run the ball?
Yeah, they're
So
definitely going to utilize him on the ground. Yeah, honestly, I think his rushing, he'll probably be about
it's
Lamar, like
scrambling.
700-800 rushing yards. He's definitely going to run a good amount. At passing,
It's
though, I don't think he's going to hit for 35. I think he'll probably hit more for like 3 or 32 if we're lucky, because he's just not a very accurate passer.
He's a big guy, and I'd like to consider him like the most athletic quarterback like anybody else around here. But I think he's going to be more like a Kyler Murray, stay in the pocket for like a second and then like run around and avoid contact and then find somebody open and throw to them.
A one read kind of guy, or extend the play if he's lucky.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't see him taking off intentionally or like how we see Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, how they just kind of like take off because they see a hole, and that's like the second read that their playbook tells them to do is like, hey, if the linebacker starts to climb into the pocket, then that's when you're gonna break and then take the middle of the field. And with him being a rookie, we need to get his passing proficiency situated before anything because he's a quarterback. So I think they're gonna really tell him to stay focused on looking at his reads and finding the open man before just saying, hey dude, you're a monster, go out there, play some Pop Warner or high school football. That stuff is Pop Warner high school football, which
he's essentially still in his rookie season. That you're correct when you said that he's basically a rookie. So the experience is not quite there yet. I mean, do we know if he knows how to avoid the big hits or run out of bounds now? Because when I saw him play last year, he was finishing plays with his head getting smacked against the turf and leaving the football game. So if he doesn't learn to protect himself, and if that's going to be his style of play, and they're going to want him to do that, then he's not going to have a very long career, let alone a good fantasy football season.
Yeah, but when you play that type of style of football as well, though, you don't take that away from him as well. And then only in four games played, he rushed the ball 25 times, 100%, bro.
Yeah, he ain't gonna quit running.
He had 4 rushing TDs in 4 games, like 34 rush yards per game, 25 carries, 6.3 yards per carry, bro. They're not going to take that away from him. That's part of the reason why they drafted him for that. And then if we're going to compare Lamar, even though we've seen Lamar do it, and bring in Derrick Henry, we also got to use that factor as well as Anthony Richardson's running ability compared to having Jonathan Taylor's running ability. It's going to work in both cases as well, to me, in my opinion. If you're going to use that for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry as well, too, though, bro. So yeah, and then 3,500 yards passing. You had a top 12. Michael Pittman, you draft in another Adon Mitchell, and then you got Josh Downs, who was third in targets in all rookies. So he almost had 100 targets last year. So it's not like they're not going to be passing the ball as well. So the threshold between 3,200 and 3,500 yards and 800 yards rushing is not unfathomable, 100%. And I don't think they're going to stop him from dialing back from running 100%. That's part of the reason why they drafted him so high.
Hey, 800 yards rushing is incredible. I mean, he does have like a career average of like 5 yards per carry, and that's great. But that's nothing special. I mean, and 25 attempts through 4 games, that averages out to a little over 6.
That's a lot of attempts per game for a quarterback.
I think there's no way. Yeah, that 4-game sample he had last year. There's no way he's gonna be able to maintain that pace. Yeah, because
that's why he got knocked out of the games. He's running way too much.
He's the ultimate dice roll. It's one of those things. If he hits his ceiling, you might win your league by drafting him. But if he busts, that could cost you because you're gonna have to pull him up high if you want him.
He's going at the 5.09 right now.
That's too high for me.
Yeah,
I'd take him in the 7 for sure, maybe the 6. I'd probably do the 6 just because of the upside. But to me, any higher than that is I can't do it, bro. It's too risky.
I feel
He's
it.
a bigger, stronger Kyler Murray.
Yeah, because I mean, shit, you can get Kyler Murray a lot of times in the 7th, 8th round. Same with Jordan Love as we move on to the next group here. J Love, Kyler, Brock Purdy, and Tua. I feel like I'm doing Tua a lot of justice. Tino was saying I was disrespecting Tua, but I mean, a lot of lists have Tua like outside the top 12, but I had to keep him in the top 12 because, yeah, he did lead the league in passing yards last year, even though he doesn't run. I mean, that system's still the same. Mike McDaniel, and they added even more weapons there. Jalen Wright, the rookie running back, Odell Beckham. So Tua should still be strong despite him not running in the Brock Purdy. I mean, that's Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think he'll still be a top 12 guy. A lot of people are out on the Brock too, though. I mean, the Brock, he fell to like the 13th round of the single QB mock last week. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, y'all are really just like really sleeping on Brock Purdy, bro. I guess because they lost the Super Bowl. I bet if they'd have won the Super Bowl, he'd be going a lot higher. And then Kyler and J Love have great upside, high ceilings. So I guess just whoever wants to kick this off, who out of this group you all feel has a chance to take the next step into that top 5 to 8 range?
I'm not mad at Kyler, bro. 100%. Kyler coming back with them 8 games that he got under his belt last year, having I think it was two tops. Damn it, I got the stats written down, but he had 2 top 24 finishes.
I'm cool with Kyler though. Like I would take him over Anthony Richardson. I think that those 8 games back. I don't have the stats in front of me, but we know that he was starting to get acclimated to being back to football and running the ball again. So that we saw a little bit of that old pre-injury Kyler, which is really good to see. You want to see that. I think that his price is going to still be depreciated, so you can get a really good value on him, and that's what you're looking for when you draft. That's why I'm saying I prefer guys like this over Anthony Richardson. I don't think there's much value there because the risk mitigation in your draft. You don't want to blow it all on one player if you draft him too high. And it could derail your entire season. You just don't know. So, you can't win it all at the draft, but you can definitely lose your league at the draft. So you want, like I say, mitigate risk, get people on your team that you are comfortable with. I know that Kyler Murray's had some injury history as well, but like I said, he was able to finish out the end of season after the surgery. It wasn't anything that's lingering or anything like that. So with the addition of Marvin Harrison now in the draft, the number 1 overall receiver is going way too high in redraft as well. But, if people are overdrafting him like that and you're still getting Kyler Murray at where he's going, that's just supreme value. So I'd definitely rather have somebody like that. Jordan Love is nobody to scoff at, but there's just too many intangibles there, too many question marks with his receiving core. So I would probably still take Murray over Love. That's just me personally. But I do like the way the second half of this kind of shakes out.
Okay, yeah, Tino is high on Tua, saying I was disrespecting him, but I mean, I'm higher on him than consensus. I think consensus 2 is 14th because a lot of consensus lists have. I think it's like Caleb Williams, bro. People are really going crazy for Caleb Williams. I'm not putting him top 12, but I think because of what CJ Stroud did last year, everyone's just assuming that Caleb's going to do the same, but I'm not buying that, bro. I mean, at USC, he was shaky at times, bro.
Let's not try to remove the values, y'all. You're right. You know what I mean? And
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a freaking rookie quarterback. Yeah. And I mean, if we're talking rookie QBs, Jaden Daniels.
I used to do shit like that.
Jaden Daniels is the one I feel has a much better chance to finish as a QB1 because he's got a rushing floor. Even if he struggles some as a passer early on, he's got the rushing floor, and he's in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Caleb Williams doesn't really run much. I know he's got really good weapons, but I just think he's going to have a lot of growing pains, being that he came out early. Jaden had more college experience. To me, it's Jaden. I think Jaden, honestly, out of that, I mean, Love and Kyler, I think have a little more upside in him. But as far as Purdy and Tua, because of Jaden's rushing, especially in the 4-point passing leagues like standard, like I think Jaden, I could see myself pulling Jaden up in the top 12 because, man, he with LSU last year was so freaking dynamic as a passer and a runner. I know his landing spot wasn't great, but I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, he did it. He elevated Kyler. I think he could elevate Jaden. So.
That was one part of my thing too, though. So Kyler, what I was going to say is he had 3 top 15 finishes and 3 top 10 finishes, and then with Tino saying he's never thrown for 4,000 yards in his life, but he's had a 4,700 yard combined total TD season.
Yeah, you got to look at the combined.
I mean, combined yards.
Touchdowns.
Yeah.
37 TDs with a quarterback 2 finish under his belt. Even though he played 16 games that year and hasn't played 16 games that year, with him coming back, playing them 8 games, getting his feet wet, on top of bringing in a Marvin Harrison, getting his feet wet with a Trey McBride. You got a Mike Wilson. You got my boy, dude, who I vouch for a lot, Greg Dortch. I hope he break out this year, man. Hey, if Kyler Murray play all 17 games, which is a little stretch right now because we ain't seen him do it in 3 years, 2 years. But if he do, bro, he's up there. Then a double back on my Anthony Richardson. If you take Anthony Richardson where he going at right now, and you in a 12-man, one quarterback standard lead and his 15 roster spot, why not take Anthony Richardson where he's going and take where you got Matthew Stafford at 20? If you can double back and get Matthew Stafford in the 13th or 14th round, and if to protect your ROI, 100%, bro.
Yeah, if you're taking Anthony Richardson, you probably have to protect him.
100%, especially if you got Aaron Rodgers, which if he's healthy this year, he's going to outperform that 22th rank. And then you got a Kirk Cousins. Somebody brought up Kirk Cousins, and then we just had Bogey bring up T-Law going at 16. You could protect your ROI that high if you take him with them later round quarterbacks that's already proven.
Yeah, and I know you're high on Jared Goff, JD. I mean, Jared Goff is the epitome of health. He's always out there, upright pocket passer. An A-Rich Goff duo would be really nice. Or even because Lamar gets hurt to being a runner. If you can get like Lamar and Goff, prioritize that QB position, because I bet a lot of people are like, oh, Goff, I could get him 11th, 12th round. But if you pull Goff up like there in the 10th, or you're like, man, why'd you take a backup that high? It's one of those things to where the QB position can be one. If you don't have it on lock, it can be hell not having a good QB, even in single QB. I mean, super flex, obviously, you got to prioritize it. But even single QB, bro, like if you don't prioritize a position, it can be rough if you're having to be like, oh, I got to do Will Levis this week. Oh, he sucked. Well, let me drop him and pick up Derek Carr. Oh, I'm going to try the Ginsu. I mean, in a single QB, you don't want to have to be messing with guys like that. So, yeah, I agree. If you take one of those riskier QBs, if you can just take the backup a little higher than usual, and then you should be fine.